to the Minister. What is your investment in this particular period in the Waitematā Harbour crossing? How does it differ to the plan that Labour had in place? And what costings has he done as opposed to what Labour did in their time?
Well, again, we're running out of time, but I don't. This is comical stuff. I mean, but I don't want to be too mean, but basically, Labour's plan was a fantasy, dreamt up in the dregs of the election campaign in order to give Michael Wood and Chris Hipkins a photo op at the Hilton Hotel with the Harbour Bridge in the background, and where they could say, we're going to build the second Harbour crossing. And then it turned out there was no plan, there was no funding, there was no solution, there was no options analysis. It was literally, they didn't really know what they were going to build, when, where, how, like literally no answers to any question. It was the height of policy made for a photo op during an election campaign or about to be an election campaign, and you know, pie in the sky figures of $60 billion, and it was like, you know, if you thought the $700 million cycleway across the harbour was bad, that never got built, eventually they decided that was a dumb idea. You thought that was bad. Then Auckland Light Rail, you thought that was dumb. And then there was like the nadir of stupid policy making on the fly in order to get Chris Hipkins a photo op where he could pretend that he was doing something for Auckland Transport. And it failed. So what we're doing on the Auckland Harbour, the additional Waitematā Harbour, is we're actually doing the work. So there's a barge in the harbour right now doing the geotech work, and we're undertaking market soundings to actually go and talk to the people who go and build this stuff and finance it, to work out what's actually deliverable, and try and come up with a solution that is fundable, deliverable, and that actually meets the needs of Auckland. So we're committed to an additional Waitematā Harbour crossing, but there have been successive generations of politicians, the last government being the worst at this, which stood up and said, we are going to build a second harbour crossing, and then we're unable to answer every question after that. And so I think, frankly, Aucklanders are kind of over that. What they want is a plan, but they want a plan that's deliverable, fundable, and that people actually can understand it's realistic. And so we are working hard on that plan. So there's money in the National Land Transport Plan for investigations. As part of that, the barge in the harbour will be being funded through some of that. We can get the exact numbers, but there's no funding for delivery in this National Land Transport Plan. You wouldn't expect that. And frankly, it's a sort of project where once you've got a solution and you know what you want to do, it's something that the whole Parliament should back. It's so well, it's a bit unclear, to be honest. I mean, it's like all things, a bit unclear. It's a multi-generational project in which you are going to want to have some degree of consensus across the Parliament. And so once we've got a plan and a solution, we'll come talk to the opposition.